Hey Meno Warriors, it's Kate and welcome back to my channel where you can expect weekly videos from me on a Monday to talk all things menopause. Today I am talking about cellulite. It's important that you know that cellulite isn't necessarily fat related, it's more of a hormone problem. So I'm going to actually share with you what actually causes cellulite today, the science behind it without getting too scientific, and then also give you reasons or ideas that can help you fix cellulite if it's a problem for you. Just know that it can appear in obese women or obese people as much as it can do in slender people as well. It tends to only occur in the butt, the thigh, and the sort of midsection of the body. And the reason for that is that in these areas of the body, there are twice as many alpha-2 receptors. Alpha-2 receptors tell the body to store fat for later use. One of the big purposes of this fat is that, say, for instance, when you're pregnant, it is a ready source of energy for the baby if it's needed during lean times. We know that cellulite tends to get worse during pregnancy. It can also get worse during menopause when you're taking HRT. It can also get worse when you're taking the contraceptive pill. Beneath the skin, essentially, there's this like fish net-like structure. And normally when before we get cellulite, we tend to have a very organized structure. And that structure gives the integrity to the skin, it keeps fat cells in place, and it just keeps everything nice and smooth. The muscle is where it should be, the fat's where it should be, and the skin is looking nice and youthful. With cellulite, that fishnet structure is just getting broken down. There's a few processes that contribute to breaking down that fish net structure. I can't think, I really have to have a better terminology for it because it's kind of like confusing for me as well. But essentially that's what causes the dimpling effect with cellulite. It can be due to too much fat. It can be due to or a lack of lymph circulation. It can be due to the atrophy of the muscles beneath the sort of skin and fat layer. As we get older, particularly as we go through the menopause, our muscles atrophy at a really fast rate. So if you're not using your muscles, you're going to have a greater tendency to get cellulite or have that cellulite effect. The sooner you can start on a strength training program, the better your chances of getting rid of or reducing the amount of cellulite you have. But it's never too late to start. You can still see incredible results. I think it's just easier to get those results if you start as early as you're able to do. So essentially, the formation of cellulite tends to be more of a collagen issue than it does a fat issue. So what causes a loss of collagen? Firstly, excess estrogen. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but I've got falling estrogen. So what does that mean? Excess estrogen is in relation to your progesterone, which also falls. But as you're going through the menopause or perimenopause, your progesterone levels fall off a lot faster than your estrogen do. So that means that you then become estrogen dominant. So with estrogen dominant, you have the estrogen dominance, which is contributing to it, which I'll explain more in a moment. And then you have an enzyme called aromatase. Aromatase technically converts testosterone, one of our androgens, into estrogen. So when our estrogen levels are falling, the body's thinking, oh, well, I better make some more estrogen, even though we are estrogen dominant already. And our own fat cells and our skin cells use this enzyme aromatase in order to create estrogen. So the aromatase actually has a negative impact. It will break down the fibroblasts, which help build the collagen underneath the skin. And then so you have the aromatase effect, and then you've also got the effect of the estrogen that's being produced by our adrenal glands, by our fat cells, by our skin cells, and that destroys collagen fibers and elastin. So the excess aromatase destroys fibroblasts, which help build the structure of the skin, and then the excess estrogen that we already have actually then destroys the fibrin and the elastin. So it's like a two-pronged issue. It really is not a fat problem. There are other hormones related to this as well. So as our estrogen levels fall, our cortisol levels rise. Cortisol also has a breaking down effect on our muscle mass that contributes to muscle atrophy. So you've probably heard in previous videos that I've shared that when our ovaries go into retirement, our adrenal glands back up the job of the ovaries. Well, most of us are already in a fairly stressed situation already. Our lives are quite stressy. And so we've already got more excess cortisol running through our bodies. And excess cortisol, like I say, contributes to the atrophy of muscle mass. It breaks down our muscles more quickly, particularly in the thighs and the glutes, sort of top of the legs and the bum muscles. But also too much cortisol in the body raises our insulin levels, and insulin is our fat storing hormone. So you've got like a multi-pronged thing going on here that's causing this connective issue. You've got fat cells that are not getting slimmer because of the raised insulin levels due to raised cortisol levels. You've got the breakdown, you've got the weakening of the collagen layer that supports those sort of fat cells, plus you've got the weakening of the muscle tissue beneath that sort of fat layer. So it's a multifaceted approach. Things that you can do in order to sort of help you manage this is to start exercising as soon as you can. Strength training, weight bearing exercises, and backward walking. I mentioned it on my stories a couple of days back. Backward walking is retro walking, it's also called, is really beneficial for toning up your hamstrings and your gluteal muscles. Strength training, squats, lunges. I hate lunges, but squats, I still do lunges because they're really, really good for us. And also they're really good for your core, for your balance. You'll find that as you get older, if you look at older people, they fall over more often. Why is that? It's because they have a lack of muscle mass, which contributes to a lack of stability, a lack of flexibility. So it's not only for how we look and avoiding cellulite, it really is about going into a healthy older age. I cannot remember the percentage of people who die after breaking their hip later in life. It's just crazy. So first of all, we need to fix that muscle atrophy problem. So manage your stress as effectively as you can do, so it's not breaking down the muscle fibers as fast, but also be active, move your body, but do purposeful strength training exercises 4 or 5 times a week. It's also a circulatory problem. If we are quite sedentary, our lymph system relies upon either us deep breathing to push the lymph around our bodies, or movement. So for those of us who live very sedentary lives, our lymph system is just getting really sluggish. Our lymph system cleanses our body. It takes the toxins away. So if we've got a toxin body, if we've got lots of poison sitting in, we've got lots of fluid hanging around that shouldn't be there, that is also going to contribute to excess cellulite. The other thing you can do is make sure that you can do dry brushing. That's a really good thing to stimulate your lymphatic system. Massage is brilliant. I'm also a sports massage therapist. I think the power of massage is way underrated. It's on so many levels, massage is beneficial for you, but it also helps to detoxify and just replenish it, because you're improving the lymph flow, but you're also improving the circulatory system. So as well as getting rid of excess toxins and excess sluggishness, you're also delivering nutrients to the cells of the body via increased blood flow. And then also you can try autophagy, which is it's a really, we go into autophagy when we do intermittent fasting, and it just enables you to recycle old damaged proteins and replaces with new tissue. So it has a very rejuvenating effect. If you, don't get caught up in the scientific terms, basically intermittent fasting. You can do it over a series of days if you want to. I tend to follow an 8-14 rota. So for 14 hours, I don't eat. And then during an 8-hour window, I do eat, and I eat pretty much what I want to. That gives your digestive system time to rest, and it enables your system just to do the things that it needs to do in order to keep you as healthy and energized as possible. Other things that do affect cellulite are your genetics. If it's genetic related, there's not an awful lot you can do about it. Love your body where it's at. I think I also really want to strongly point out that while I know a lot of people don't like cellulite and they want to get rid of cellulite, like I said at the beginning, it can afflict any of us. And if you've got it, live with it. If it's a genetic cellulite, you have to kind of, any muscle tone that you can get is going to support your structure. So you can, whatever exercises you do, you are going to improve how that looks. But you'll see even like really fit, strong, muscular women, they might still have cellulite. That's totally normal. I think nearly every single woman on the planet has got some kind of cellulite. So please don't feel that you are substandard because you've got it. Genetics, there's not an awful lot you can do about it. Nicotine contributes to cellulite badly, but I mean, if you smoke, just stop smoking, full stop. I cannot understand why anyone still smokes this day and age. You could say, why does anybody drink alcohol still? I love my drinks as well. So yes, same rule probably applies to me. But I think it's obvious the detriment that nicotine has. There is nothing positive about it at all. Poor eating habits will also contribute to cellulite, particularly if you have disordered eating. The body just does not know what you're doing with it. And if you are struggling with disordered eating, either talk to, I know it's really hard to get the proper help, but I think, we have people in our wellness community who have disordered eating, and there's one of our nutritional approaches which is really good, particularly if your disordered eating is around emotional eating. Maybe take a look at that. Just message me if you want some more information on that. Vitamin D is incredibly important. That helps every aspect of our body. I could talk all day about the benefits of vitamin D. Just make sure you're getting out every day throughout the year for a minimum of 20, ideally 30 minutes plus into the daylight, and ideally in the first half of the day. Omega-3 fatty acids are very useful for you. Selection of amino acids. I mean, if you're eating a good high quality protein diet, you are probably getting the right amount of amino acids that you need. I do take a muscle recovery drink after I've done a strength training workout. I think I'm convinced it contributes to lean muscle mass, the development of lean muscle mass. I'm 52. I do have some cellulite, but I think for my age and the amount of activity I do, which, to be quite honest, I'm sitting down a lot of the day. Yeah, I take my dogs out for a walk, and yes, I normally do a 30-minute workout 4 or 5 times a week. But beyond that, I sit down a lot. So I think, there are a lot of things that we can do to contribute to less cellulite if you want to. Make sure that you're eating plenty of protein, high quality protein. That's really important as we go through the menopause, full stop. Focus on building muscle mass and not losing weight. Healthy fats are really important for us, and we need them specifically as we go through menopause. I've mentioned it in previous Menopause Monday, so I'm not going to go into that in any detail right now. But when you are getting the right when you're getting the right nutrition, you won't get cravings. You'll build lean muscle mass. You'll sleep better. You'll feel mentally better. Carbs are healthy. Need all different types of food groups, not refined carbs, but fiber-filled carbs. We need those. Those are vegetables. We need vegetables because vegetables contain vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber. Fiber is a prebiotic which helps to feed the probiotics, which are the healthy gut bacteria. We need healthy gut bacteria for our good mental health and our energy. Everything is linked. So obviously processed foods are not going to be good for you because they're full of trans fats, they're full of chemicals, and high levels of salt as well. High levels of salt are going to cause bloating. You'll hang on to more fluid, which is going to make any cellulite worse that you might have. When you do start on a strength training routine, I just want to add this because a lot of the ladies in my fit club, also, this is a common problem. They say, but I've been doing this now for 4 weeks and the scales haven't budged. There are a couple of reasons for that. Sometimes it can take, if your body is toxified, it takes time for it to get into a detoxification mode. You cannot lose fat while your body is in a toxic state. You have to start to become detoxified before it will start to shed fat. Okay. Fat loss, healthy fat loss, is very slow. So that's another reason. I think you only lose about 2 pounds of fat healthily every week. However, when you're also following a strength training exercise plan, you're building lean muscle. Lean muscle weighs. what you need to do is not worry about the scales. Just take your before photographs and take your before measurements. Those are the truest indicator of how you're doing. And you'll find that when you start doing regular strength training, when you cut out or reduce the amount of refined foods and processed foods that you're eating, immediately within a couple of days, your belly will start to get less. And I always tend to measure around the middle of my belly, so my waistline, and then the fattest part of my belly. And you'll find that that fattest part normally reduces really quite fast, but the scales may not change at all. They may even go up slightly, because also if you're brand new to fitness or you're starting a new fitness program, it does create inflammation in the muscles. Inflammation causes you to hang on to fluid. So, you will eventually regulate, you'll eventually start to look really lean and toned, but there are a few weeks where you might be thinking, oh, I'm so frustrated, I'm doing all the stuff and the scales aren't budging. That is why. Please don't use the scales as an indicator. They are really unreliable indicator of progress, and they can just make you feel really frustrated, and that might make you give up. And that's the worst thing you can do. You just have to keep consistent with it. And it's amazing how once you start to lose weight, I hate saying that, it's if you have weight to lose, it's about reaching a healthy weight and maintaining a healthy weight. It's about working out to be strong and healthy and energized, not to be skinny. Okay, so I really want to emphasize that. So in the beginning, it might be that your weight won't change, but your measurements will. So please, if you're starting that, if you need any help getting started, measure me. That's what I specialize in: menopause, belly fat, and living with energy. And there's a lot that you can do that I can help you with, or you can just do it by yourself. There's loads of resources out there. You might be sick of following various free clips and want a guided plug and play system. Literally, what I will tell you what to do, and you'll do it, and then we'll regroup, and then we'll see how you're getting on, how you're progressing. I will be supporting you every single day, and then we will put you onto another program, and you will develop, and you will regroup, and you will not plateau. You'll eat loads of food. I love my food. I could possibly never ever follow anything that doesn't involve plentiful eating, because I like my food and drink, and it has to fit into a lifestyle. It has to be something that you can do. It cannot involve deprivation and all the rubbish calorie counting, because calories are not equal. That system is just so flawed. I'm not going to go into that in any great detail either, but please just make sure. So again, just to summarize, cellulite is a hormonal issue. It's more of a collagen breaking down problem, but you can support yourself. So make sure that you are managing your stress effectively. That will make one of the biggest differences. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Make sure you're getting out into the ultraviolet light every day. Make sure you're doing strength training. Make sure you are getting enough sleep. That will also help balance your satiety hormones, but it also will help. It'll help to just keep you looking and feeling more youthful. Also, just another thing on strength training, strength training promotes the secretion of human growth factor. As we get older, our HGH levels fall off dramatically. Strength training helps to boost those levels. So again, it's going to help you maintain that more youthful appearance, but most importantly, keep you feeling energized and stronger. So that's it in a nutshell. It is caused by estrogen dominance and the fact that our cortisol levels rise, our insulin levels rise. Aromatase doesn't contribute to it at all. If you're overweight, so it doesn't help. So aromatase makes us create more estrogen dominance, which breaks down the collagen structures. So if you're overweight, make sure you lose that excess weight, because your fat cells are making estrogen, which is making all this happen even worse. If you're lean, or if you're a healthy weight, just make sure to, like I said, clean up your diet if you need to, but please, 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 if you're not doing it yet, incorporate strength training into your workout, into your weekly regimen, and take rest days. If you're already keeping fit and you say, yeah, but I'm doing it 7 days a week and I've still got cellulite. We need rest days. On our rest days, that is when our body heals. When we sleep, that's when our body heals. That's why in the programs that I follow, there are normally at least 2 rest days a week. I've had 2 back to back this week. Your body, when you rest, your muscles then rebuild. That's when they get leaner and stronger. When you're working out, you're actually breaking down the muscle fibers, but it's by the fact that they then rebuild themselves that they become even stronger. So some people don't understand that's that whole process behind that. So I hope this has been helpful. If you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future episodes. If you've got anything you'd like me to cover in a future episode, I'd be more than happy to do so, and make it a great week, and I will chat to you soon.